Hi, I'm Jen with Orange Modworks, and this is going to be a first look at the hybrid kit for the Longshot. This is a shell we've been using for a lot of things, so ignore the sort of modded parts. We're going to focus on the internals, which are 100% compatible with a stock shell. So the hybrid's concept means you can fire both long and short darts. And in the Longshot, you have a lot of plunger volume to play around with, so we can seal the system up a little better than we had with the Retaliator, and we use a metal barrel to achieve this. This kit comes with the plunger rod, spring rest, plunger head, expanded plunger tube, breech, chamber, barrel, bolt sled, trigger, and trigger catch, along with the pins and small springs. So this is a 3D printed breech in a not very durable material currently. The final version will be black POM, extremely durable stuff, and very low friction. So I'm going to be delicate with this one here, because it is a prototype. I'm going to take out the whole system and move the shell up. So what makes the hybrid system separate from like pusher breeches and things like that is the dart compatibility. So the breech at first glance appears to be quite similar to a stock breech, and it loads darts just like a stock breech would. Now I'm going to go ahead and punch the pin out so we can take a closer look. Alright, so it looks similar to a stock breech. It is not. It's a little looser on the inside than our stage 2 breech to let the darts feed easily. It's thicker up at the front. We had to reinforce this area so it would interface with the metal barrel. And yeah, that's about it for the breech. Very similar, but doesn't work exactly the same. It does sort of use the hybrid system where the darts get loaded part way and then get pushed up into the barrel for a good seal. This seals, it's not a perfect seal, it's very close. You can safely dry fire your blaster with your thumb over the barrel, but it is not a perfect seal, hence the shorter barrel and the 8 kilogram and 14 kilogram spring as opposed to a 20 kilogram spring. Alright, moving on to the barrel and chamber. This piece is in a durable printed material. It had to be this way to do testing. The final material will be black POM along with the rest of the parts. And this is not a thin 17/32 barrel. This is a custom-made barrel that will be shipping with this kit. We're still tweaking internal diameters, but it's a solid piece of metal, and it seals up against the breech. There's an exposed lip here, and it seals against the breech here. Close to perfect, but not perfect. The internal diameter is a little bit larger than the 17/32 brass, so most darts will feed perfectly and they'll fire with very high muzzle velocities. There's a recess cut into the back here where the chamber is to facilitate easier loading. The springs that come with this kit will be the 8 and the 14. The 20, sort of we saw diminishing returns, this not being a fully sealed system at all. And the 8 kilogram spring drops the muzzle velocities to below 150 feet per second for most of your shots. That should make it safe for pretty much any game out there, any moderated game, indoor, outdoor. With the 14 kg spring, it is, I believe it is breaking 200 feet per second. We'll have to look at the Crony footage for that. And just a heads up, I apologize in advance, the Crony footage was shot with this prototype breech, and the nose broke off halfway, so when I'm doing the chronograph test, I'm having to fumble with the darts a bit. That's why. So moving on. The plunger head has been slightly redesigned over our old Stage 2 kit. It has a lip here to support the spring, and it has cuts on the inside to reduce the overall weight of this part. The screw is reinforced. There's more material between the screw head and the shaft of the plunger rod. And the spring rest is a pretty simple part. It's just a rest, and it braces into the shell. It's had lightning cuts back there just to reduce material. The expanded plunger body, if you've seen our 3D printed workshop pusher breech stuff, it is the same. It's significantly larger than the stock plunger body, and it has fully straight walls for basically maximum air compression. It is the largest plunger body we could fit in a shell without having to do permanent modifications. So this plunger body drops in, sits like that. The back of the shell here braces the spring directly. It's not captured by the plunger body itself. Now that might not look like the strongest solution, but as you can see, this particular shell has been abused heavily. We've done all of our sealed breech, pusher breech, 20 kilogram spring. We've tested all the way up to a 22, I think, which ended up not working. But the back of the breech, or the back of the shell here, is just fine. There's a tiny bit of stress right there, but it's not too bad. If you want to go ahead and brace that on your own, that's always an option. But this kit it doesn't come with shell braces because we haven't broken a shell. The bolt sled is the same as our stage 2. It's not going to be POM. I believe it will be polycarbonate. And it's just the tried and true design. We saw no reason to change it. There have only been a couple cases of these breaking, and those were guys running crazy spring loads and putting a lot of abuse through their blasters. The trigger is the classic Longshot metal trigger, and the trigger catch will be a polycarbonate catch, similar to our previous kits. We didn't make any changes there because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that about wraps it up for the hybrid system. Real quick, this tape here will not be necessary on the final version. I just had it in there for testing purposes because I was chopping this barrel. We have the final barrel length will be slightly longer than this, and the stock orange plastic will support the barrel. The barrel's almost the exact same inner diameter, and with something this short, and stocky, it's not 17-30 seconds. You don't have to worry about bending or whipping during firing. It's basically free floated. It will just point straight out of the chamber. So before we take it over to the Crony, I just want to address something that I've been getting a lot of comments about, and that is, why do we keep testing with stock darts? Yes, it does make the velocities higher than you would see with most aftermarket darts. However, we have to stick to these because they're universal. We have no input in their construction or anything like that. They're just stock darts. There's really no conflict of interest there, and everyone has these, so you should be able to take our chronograph data and recreate it on your own, with minor differences, and verify that when we say a certain spring puts out a certain muzzle velocity, you should be able to verify that at home. So that's why we stick to stock darts. I mean, there are some aftermarket darts that would just be, they're a little lighter, like Gen 1 worker darts, I think. Those things had screaming muzzle velocities, but that isn't exactly a fair test. So for our product videos and stuff, especially when it comes to these prototype parts where the Crony data is going to be a little sketch already, we're going to be sticking to stock darts. So without further ado, let's take it over to the Crony. Alright, this is the Longshot hybrid kit with the 8 kilogram spring and standard darts. .13.3, 147.8, oh. 132.4, and one more. 115.2. Alright, So now we're going to fire cut down stock darts. Gotta hand load it because the nose of the breech on this prototype is a little faulty. Alright. 149.8. 110.5. That dart kind of corkscrewed. That was a double feed. $140. Yeah, the 3D printed breech nose snapped off. 131.2. Let me get one more, just for good measure. $156.6. Alright, and that's with the 8 kilogram spring. Alright, this is the Longshot hybrid kit with a 14 kilogram spring installed. This spring has been broken in, but keep in mind that these are prototype parts, so take these results with a grain of salt. And we're going to start with stock streamlines. $214.8. $211.1. $212. $214.1. Disregard that one, I shot the crony. So now moving on to shortened streamlines. Still stock darts, stock weight, just short. 3D printed breech there. Oh, that was a double feed, disregard that. So 211.5. $214.6. I'm going to grab a couple more. $204. Last shot. $221.8. Alright, so that is the hybrid kit with the 14 kg spring. Thanks for watching.